So you can't do it. So I understand John Thune and I understand Mike Johnson. They want to be sure that people aren't coming into our country like they have for the last 4 years. I don't want to say they've ruined it. They made my job a lot harder.
So like we told you, the fight to fund the Department of Homeland Security, it's still going on this Saturday. Last night, the House rejected the Senate-passed deal to fund DHS without money for ICE or Customs and Border Patrol. House Speaker Mike Johnson is calling that Senate agreement a joke. And Texas Congressman and House Freedom Caucus Policy Chair Chip Roy joins me now. And Congressman, you have had some of your own words for this Senate deal. You called it garbage the other day, and you guys rejected this. So tell me, make your case to America why you decided not to sync up with the Senate and reopen the Department of Homeland Security today.
Yeah, Aisha, great to be on. And look, the fact of the matter is what the bill that came out of the Senate would not have, quote, reopened Homeland Security. It would have funded a handful of portions of Homeland Security, but it would not have funded Border Patrol. It would not have funded ICE. And let's be very clear, the bill literally put $0 written in to the appropriations bill. We've never done that before. That was purposeful by Democrats. They wanted to have that in place because they want to set a baseline where there's $0 for ICE and Border Patrol. And what that means is they want a perpetual lack of funding for our enforcement operations. That is a non-starter for us. It is Democrats that are blocking bills. The House have passed 4 or 5 bills to fund DHS in its entirety. We've sent it to the Senate, and 5 to 7 Democrats continue to reject that. We're going to stand up with Border Patrol. We're going to stand up with ICE. We're going to stand up for the people who sent us here to secure our country and not allow people to come in unfettered. And one last point. Democrats on the floor yesterday were trying to claim credit and say, don't worry, there's funding in place because of the big, beautiful bill. Not one Democrat voted for that bill, number one. Number two, that bill does not fund key operations. For example, the HCI, the organization within ICE that is used to go after child sex predators. There are key divisions not being paid. Okay. There are core staff not getting paid under the Democrats' bill that they wanted out of the Senate and that I don't think Majority Leader Thune should have put on the floor.
Well, let me, if I can, pull up this full screen of John Thune's post on X, because he sort of makes that argument that you just mentioned here about the big, beautiful bill. I'm going to read you off a couple of points that he's making. This is his argument for why this deal was good. He said ICE and CBP are funded through the big, beautiful bill, what you just mentioned. Democrats got 0 restrictions that would prevent ICE and CBP agents from doing their job safely. ICE and CBP will even get more funding through budget reconciliation whenever that happens. And the Democrats have basically told America that they are the open borders, defund the police party, and Democratic leadership has proven once again they can't be trusted to make a deal. So, Congressman, why was this not good enough for you?
Because putting a bill on the floor that zeroes out Border Patrol and ICE puts in place a permanent limit on where they are, and you just said it, requires us to come back in a reconciliation package to try to backfill and fund ICE and Border Patrol. That's a non-starter. We're not going to abandon them on the field. It is Democrats who are blocking funding for TSA. It is President Trump, through executive order, that is funding TSA. It is Democrats that are blocking Border Patrol and ICE. It is Republicans through the big, beautiful bill, which Democrats opposed. Remember, violently opposed the big, beautiful bill. Mm-hmm. The only reason we have any funding for ICE and Border Patrol is because Republicans looked down the field, knew what they would do, and put funding in place for parts of it. But we cannot leave the core support staff. We cannot leave the investigations wing of the ICE organization responsible for going after child sex predators unfunded because Democrats refuse to do it. That these are false statements to say that we are funding what we need to fund. Democrats are hiding behind the big, beautiful bill, which is a Republican-driven effort. President Trump delivered, and now President Trump's delivering on TSA. We need the Senate to come back to work, not take a vacation, not fly home for Easter. I'm here in the Capitol, Aisha. I'm running for Attorney General of Texas, and instead of being in Texas talking about securing Texans, instead of running my campaign, I'm here doing my job.
And I can hear the echo behind you because nobody else is there.
That's right.
and that says a lot, right? And we just showed all of these airport travelers. If we can pop that live shot back up, you guys. There are so many people that are having to cancel their flights and just not go on their trips or whatever it is, their meetings, because of this disaster, because Congress can't fund this department. So let me ask you this. This bill, this clean CR to fund all of the Department of Homeland Security that you guys have now sent to the Senate's not there. If they come back, if they take it up, Chuck Schumer is saying it is dead on arrival. He's not going to let it go anywhere. So did you guys just send the Senate Republicans a hopeless bill?
Well, Senate Schumer can choose to vote against it if he wants to, but Majority Leader Thune should bring it to the floor, ask unanimous consent to pass it. If Chuck Schumer objects to that, put it on the floor, force a vote. And if Schumer and the Democrats want to block funding, let's be very clear. Let's put it back on them. This is a continuing resolution of the current operations of the Department of Homeland Security in full. FEMA, Coast Guard, ICE, Border Patrol, TSA, all of those important functions. Democrats are the ones objecting and blocking that. They are trying to hide behind our successful efforts to limit the funding on ICE and Border Patrol, reset it to zero, and in so doing, leaving a whole bunch of people unpaid and unable to do their job. They are not funding it. We are. So it's up to the Senate Republicans to force Democrats into action. Change the rules, deal with the filibuster, but quit hiding behind Senate rules to not deliver for the American people. Don't go home for vacation. Stay here and do your job. And by the way, work on the Save America Act at the same time. The people that I talk to across Texas, they want to be safe and secure. They don't want to be subject to illegal aliens, criminals, and the people that are killing people, like the young woman in Loyola in Chicago. It is unconscionable what Democrats are allowing to occur to the people of this country. Republicans should be here every day until we deliver for the people.
Very quickly, before I let you go, I want to give you a chance just to address the thousands of federal workers that can't pay their bills, are getting evicted, are getting their cars repossessed, are not able to buy Easter baskets, apparently, in the next week because they're not getting paid. What's your message to them?
First, I'm here working for you. That's why I'm here in the Capitol instead of being on the campaign trail. Second, Republicans delivered last night in the House a full funding package. Democrats are blocking it. Third, the funding you do have is because Republicans delivered in the big, beautiful bill and because President Trump is, through executive order, finding funds to pay for TSA, to pay for Border Patrol and ICE through the big, beautiful bill because Democrats refuse to do their job to fund the security of this nation, leaving us exposed with terrorist attacks while we're in conflict with Iran. So it is Democrats who refuse to do their job. We're delivering. Make sure you force the Senate to come back here and do their job. Senator Thune, bring him back in. Let's go.
Okay, we'll find out if he does. Congressman Chip Roy, thank you very much for being on the show with us. Great
Thanks,
to see you.
Aisha. God bless.
Okay, for more on this, let's go to the Senate side now and ask that very question to Louisiana Senator Bill Cassidy. Senator, thank you so much. You just heard Chip Roy there. He is not very happy with his Senate colleagues. And there's other people that are calling this garbage as well. The president also told our Jackie Heinrich yesterday that this deal that you guys made with Democrats in the Senate was inappropriate. So I'm going to give you a chance to respond here. How do you respond to people who think that you guys left in the dead of night, got out of town, and left the House a bad deal?
So Chip and I agree on a lot of things. We agree first that Senate Democrats have done their best to vote no. We have given them, and the president agreed to giving them their demands, and they still would not vote yes. They are so frightened of their left-wing base that even when you give them the reforms that they want and the president gives them the reforms they want, they say no. So it leaves you in a little bit of a tough situation. We also agree that in the One Big Beautiful Bill that we quadrupled funding for ICE in case this would ever occur. We knew at some point Democrats could hold hostage the American people by not funding Border Patrol and ICE. And so we quadrupled the funding to make that happen. So if it came to where we funded everything, but in this one little category, Democrats still would not vote yes, and therefore we have these long lines in the airports, we already had it funded.
Okay.
That's the critical thing.
So let's talk about where we are now, because now we're in a bind, because now the House and the Senate are on two different pages. They haven't synced up. We can't get the airport lines back open, up and running. So are you guys going to come back now in town and cut this 2-week break early? What are you hearing from John Thune?
So first, the TSA agents will start being paid as early as Monday.
Right.
And so that's been addressed.
Because of the president's actions.
Because, well, the president's action building upon that which is in the one big beautiful bill. In the one big beautiful bill, we created enough resources that the president would be able to pay them, which I think is why he agreed to the deal. Among the reasons why he agreed to the deal. Secondly, we still need Senate Democrats to be able to vote yes. Right now, they are so frightened of their left-wing base that if the left-wing base says boo, they jump in the air. So they will not vote yes so far. I'm hoping that the pressure put upon them will make it happen. Now, I don't know if Thune's going to call us back. I just don't know. I'm sure he's having conversations with Mike Johnson, because Mike Johnson obviously has a hard time getting things through his chamber, and with Chuck Schumer, and with the president, because the president's the fellow that can make it happen. Well, no, let me stop. The president's really worked at making this happen. And Senate Democrats just keep on pulling back. Whatever you give them, they pull back a little bit more because they're frightened to say yes.
Well, I think that's what they're going to try to do on Monday, right? If you guys try to pass this House bill, this clean CR, on Monday through unanimous consent, can't the Democrats just send a Democrat up to Capitol Hill and block this? They could send a Virginia Democrat, a Maryland Democrat, and just block this. So I guess the question is, where do we go from here? What do you guys do?
I think there'll have to be continued pressure upon Democrats to accept yes for an answer. Again, the president went so far to meet their demands, giving body cams for the ICE agents, for example, other means by which they could be identified if there was some problem without having to reduce the mask. And just when we thought we had a deal, Democrats backed off once more.
So does that pressure include bringing everybody back to Capitol Hill?
Well, it absolutely could. It absolutely could. And so that's one of the things that you can do. And again, John Thune's going to have to make that decision. He'll work with the president and work with Mike Johnson, because whatever we pass, Mike's got to be able to pass. And, you know, obviously they're having a hard time passing things over there.
Let me just, before I let you go, I want to just bring up this poll, this Fox News poll, brand new this week. And it says a lot about where Congress is right now when it comes to the American people. And it basically, the question is, how out of touch is the White House, congressional Republicans, congressional Democrats, with people like you at home? And congressional Republicans aren't doing so well. 61% of Americans feel that, you know, you guys are out of touch with people at home. And these live pictures at airports don't help. So what is your message to people at home that are wondering why we're in this situation all over again? Why is Congress not able to make its deadlines?
I think it's two things about that. It's not just this travel, because Senate Republicans have been voting to reopen Department of Homeland Security consistently for the last 6 weeks, consistently. I think it also is in touch, if you will, touches upon issues of affordability. How do we make life more affordable for the American people? We got to be focused on that. Yeah. I've been working on how do we make health care more affordable. The president's team came to me 2 to 3 weeks ago asking me to help write a bill in which would make pharmaceuticals more affordable. Similarly, in my committee chairmanship, I've been working to make price transparency, or to make health insurance more affordable. We've got to make more affordable. We have to make life more affordable for the average American voter. That's this particular senator's commitment.
Okay. Senator Cassidy, thank you very much. Please let us know if John Thune calls you all back to Capitol Hill. We would love to report that as soon as that happens. Thank you for joining us.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.